You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
A wizard, and a thumping good one, I'd wager, once you train up a little bit.
No, you must be mistaken. I'm just Harry. Just Harry.
Well, just Harry. Did you ever make anything happen? Anything you couldn't explain when you were sad or angry?
Now that you come to mention it... that explains the snake. Oh.
That's right, Harry. You're a wizard. Well, fuck. You can say that again. Fuck.
Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another way to get us all killed, or worse, expelled.
She really needs to sort out her priorities.
Yeah.
Also, if only we're a few more years older in our 5th, 6th or 7th years, then we'd be able to join her in bed. Legally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of the first Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And before we jump into the review, I'd just like to point out this is a two-film DVD. I've got Harry Potter Years 1 to 6 box set, which includes films 1 to 6. Like this, a double-sided case, so you've got two films in one case. So you'll have this the same for films 2, as seen here, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. I've got 7 and 8 individually as well as the Fantastic Beasts films individually. So up to the second one so far at time of recording. Anyway, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, as it is known in the United States of America, India, and Pakistan. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was easier for them, although sorcerer and philosophers are apparently two different things. I can understand India and Pakistan it being a bit easier for them to translate, but why on earth is it in America? I don't know. Maybe it was because they can't say philosophers. I mean, it is a tricky title, but it's not too tricky. Okay, Philosopher's Stone. This is a perfect way to start the series. It's also a perfect adaptation of an already brilliant book. This is a fantastic film. The plot basically sees orphan boy Harry Potter is living with his abusive aunt, uncle, and cousin. When he then we see him during some of these points. At one point, he accidentally apparently he's got some magical gifts, and he accidentally lets a snake out of its I don't want to say cage because it's behind a glass pen. In a reptile house, at London Zoo to be precise. So he accidentally lets a python out, I think it is. And then soon he starts getting letters from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry inviting him to come, much to his aunt and uncle's not being very happy about it. Also, his cousin seems to knows about it in the film. In the books, he doesn't know about Hogwarts until Hagrid turns up, but in the film, he seems to be aware of it. And eventually, Hagrid tracks them down and is able to take Harry to Hogwarts via Diagon Alley to collect his things, including a wand in a fantastic scene featuring John Hurt as Mr. Ollivander, who would, of course, reprise the role in the Deathly Hallows films. And also we get to meet one of our main characters later down the line, Professor Quirrell, played by Ian Hart. And we get to explore this beautiful, magical world firsthand, mainly for the first time, when we enter Diagon Alley. Well, when we first enter the Leaky Cauldron to start with, but then when we enter Diagon Alley, it goes full in, and it's beautiful. The film manages to capture the magic from the books, and it manages to translate to the screen so beautifully, and it's something that the rest of the series would do beautifully, but for the first time, it was fantastic. It's superb. And they also visit the Gringotts Bank. Really good scene there. And then after that, we then we pretty much skip most of the month of August, to be honest, as Harry's birthday was on the 31st of July. But after the Diagon Alley stuff, we seem to miss out most of August. Funny enough, that's what month this is at time of recording. And then at the start of September, he manages to board the Hogwarts Express from platform 9 3/4 at London King's Cross Station, filmed on platforms 4 and 5. That's why it looks a bit different to those going to the actual platform in real life. And he meets Ron Weasley, Rupert Grint, and Hermione Granger, Emma Watson. And to be honest, I have to quickly mention that Emma, I'll get around to the actress in a minute, but the character of Hermione, Harry and Ron seem to be more friendly towards her in the film before the Halloween incident, whilst in the books they weren't exactly on good terms with her at all. Literally at all. She was being annoying and bossy, and Harry and Ron didn't like her, and she probably didn't like them that much. And then the stuff at Halloween happens, and I'll get to that in a bit. And they become best friends, and after that, well, we all know what comes after that, following the trio. But here they seem to be on closer terms. They seem to actually be quite friendly towards each other, apart from Ron making fun of her in the Charms class just before the Halloween stuff. In fact, it was on Halloween itself, by the looks of it. But before the incident late in the evening of that day. So, apart from that one fun-making bit, they seem to be on better terms with Hermione in the pre-Halloween weeks of the film, which is actually quite fun. I don't know if I think the books kind of did make them seem a bit unkind to each other. For the characters who are going to become main characters of the series, all three of them, it does kind of put them in some negative light throughout parts of the book leading up to Halloween. But at the same time, it doesn't quite have as much of the same effect. Because they were already on mostly friendly terms with each other anyway, for the most part. It's just that after Halloween they were on even more friendly terms. So yeah, this is not a criticism. It's just something I want to notice. In the book, they were kind of a bit too unkind to each other. In the film, they're not unkind enough in a way, meaning that when after Halloween, they're just on slightly more better terms than they were before. I suppose. I mean, I wouldn't say they were best friends before Halloween, but they certainly were afterwards. But they weren't exactly hating each other beforehand either. And speaking of Emma Watson, I just wanted to point this out quickly. After the rewatch, my family and I kind of had this sort of slight agreements that Emma Watson was slightly stiff in the first film, slightly stiff in the acting. And this is no way an attack on Emma Watson, and she definitely gets better over the course of the series. It's just that we kind of thought she was a bit stiff to begin with. However, I personally think that stiffness does improve, that she gets less stiff over the course of the movie, and of course, over the course of the series, of course. So, not really much of a problem, to be honest. It's just we just noticed it. And to be honest, most of the actors will improve over the course of the film, but there's certainly everyone who was cast in the movie perfect perfect casting. I didn't finish talking about the plot, did I? Okay. Anyway, they get introduced to the school and the people teaching and studying there, including Professor McGonagall and Professor Snape, as well as Headmaster Professor Dumbledore and school bully Malfoy, just to name a few characters, and also Neville Longbottom, the clumsy but future hero character, who has a toad called Trevor. And yeah, just a lot to name. I do have to quickly mention one thing. With the Sorting Hat ceremony, in the book, it's in name alphabetical order for surname. In the film, they just do Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Draco, and one other character, Susan Bones, who kind of has a little bit more to do in the books. Or at least certainly has something to do in book 5, which came out 2 years after film 1. Certainly, so... I mean, if the character had done a bit more in this film series, maybe that her being the one chosen to have it be in this hat sorting scene alongside our main 3 heroes and one of the antagonists, it would make a lot of sense. She'd become an ally or something. But yeah, even in the book, she doesn't get a huge much to do. Again, not a criticism. This is just something I noticed. In the films, the order is Hermione, Draco, Susan, Ron, Harry, everybody else, presumably. The books also pretty much introduced us to most of the kids of year 1 as well. But I suppose because this is a film, there's time constraints. Also, I'm talking about the original theatrical cut of the film, not the extended edition. Same for Chamber of Secrets when we get to that. I don't think any of the others have had extended editions, though. So if there was any more people sorted during the scene or afterwards, then I'm not going to talk about those bits because I haven't seen those bits. Sorry. But certainly for the bits in the scenes in the theatrical cuts, that's what I'm mainly talking about. Anyway, after Halloween, we also have the Quidditch match after Harry pretty much unofficially qualified to be on the team and got a learning ceremony from Oliver Wood, and they also encounter Fluffy, who's guarding a trapdoor, the big three-headed dog that they talk to Hagrid about. And eventually, Harry, Ron, and Hermione start finding out information about Nicholas Flamel, as Hagrid accidentally misslips the name. Harry gets his invisibility cloak for Christmas. We also set up Ron's chess-playing game as well. That's really cool. And after Christmas, they discover about Flamel and go to see Hagrid. However, at night when they're not allowed to be, so they get caught by Draco and get into trouble with Draco because he's out after hours as well. Hagrid's also got a dragon who's then sent to Romania, and the kids there are sent to detention in the Forbidden Forest, and that's where Harry has his second encounter with Dark Lord Voldemort in a really cool, creepy scene, where he's saved by a centaur, and then eventually, Harry, Ron, and Hermione realise that Voldemort is after the Philosopher's Stone, and they have to try and stop him from getting to it. They also think Snape's the one who's going after it. I don't remember why. It's because they saw blood coming out of Snape. He'd been injured, and also he was apparently trying to kill Harry at the Quidditch match. It turns out it was actually Professor Quirrell, who's actually in league with Voldemort. He was the one trying to kill Harry, and if you actually watch the Quidditch scenes, you can actually get a clue of that. You can actually tell. And Snape, in fact, was actually trying to save Harry, and also he tried to stop Quirrell from going to the 3rd floor on Halloween as well. In the book, he also mentions that Fluffy then ripped at Snape, but I think we can probably work that detail out for ourselves. So, that's okay being skipped. And Harry is able to confront Voldemort. Ron and Hermione have also played a part in getting to there, but have to abandon ship, so to speak, early after the big chess match game. I'm a bit surprised that the Professor Snape potions test on the way to get to the Philosopher's Stone, the trial in the way, was skipped. I am a bit surprised, considering Snape was said by Hagrid to be one of the teachers protecting the stone, alongside probably Professor Sprout, who we'll see in the next film, with the big plant, the Devil's Snare, Flitwick's Charmed with the keys, and McGonagall's chess piece. well, it's McGonagall's in the books, in the book apparently. And then it would have been Snape with the potions, but that bit's skipped. Hermione just takes Ron upstairs, and Harry just moves in to the chamber where he finds Quirrell with the Mirror of Erised, which is also seen earlier. In a pretty beautiful scene as well. We've got some really beautiful scenes here. I think we've got some perfect cinematography and editing, and the direction is perfect. With this magical world, it's capturing so beautifully, and it helps that John Williams' score fits every scene so beautifully, and the acting is done so perfectly. And in the end, Harry is able to stop Voldemort from getting the Philosopher's Stone and kills Quirrell accidentally, but Voldemort escapes. And eventually, Harry is then praised as a hero and recovers in the hospital wing. And soon, the year end wraps up, and then they head home. Fun fact: the final scene was actually the first scene they filmed, and they actually had Hermione have her buck teeth, but after that scene they could tell that wasn't going to work. The buck teeth, of course, featuring in the books, but in the films they realised it wasn't going to work, it wasn't going to happen, so the character lost the buck teeth after that. In the books, that's also the character also loses has her teeth fixed between the 4th and 5th years, so in book 5 her teeth have now been are now normalised. Well, her dentist parents must have finally gotten round to sorting their own daughter's teeth out after so many years of sorting out other kids' teeth. They finally were able to sort out their own daughter's ones, only at the age of 15. Yeah, in the film no problem apart from that 13, but they're not really that noticeable. It was also more of a dialogue thing as well. And yeah, you wouldn't be able to get. Yeah, speaking through buck teeth are probably not very easy. So anyway, so that's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Absolutely beautiful, fantastic, well made, perfectly made. Again, like some other films I've been talking about recently, fantastic use of practical effects and visual effects perfectly blended together. Some very beautiful sets, and it just makes the magical world come to life. Everyone is perfectly cast and perfectly acts. And the music score is amazing, perfect film, cinematography, editing, and direction. And everyone just pretty much gave their whole hearts into this movie, and pretty much every other movie. And it's possibly the best adapted of the books into film. Of course, most of the other ones get pretty cool, pretty great adaptations into film. But I think Philosopher's Stone is the best adapted book to film, and it shows. It shows everybody was putting 100% effort into this movie. So it's only fair to score. My score for the film should represent that 100% effort. I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or to Americans, Indians and Pakistans, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, a 10 out of 10. Yeah, absolutely perfect. It is a bit long, so younger kids might find it a bit difficult to sit through. It's nearly an hour and 50 minutes. It's about an hour and a half, give or take. And these are pretty lengthy films most of them are. But it's worth it. It's worth sitting through the entire film because it's worth it. It's so beautiful, so perfect. Anyway, that's it from me. The next Harry Potter film I will be reviewing will be Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which is another brilliant installment. Well, they all are. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel.
Excuse me. You're a wizard, Harry. A wizard! A wizard! And a thumping good one, I'd wager. Well, just Harry. Did you ever, do something you'd never expect? Shit. Give me a minute. That's right, Harry. You can do magic. That guy just came round and back again. Literally. You can see that. Oh shit, that bloody angle. Terrible angle, I'm sorry.
I'm a what?
I'm going to bed before either of you two get another idea to get us both killed. Shit. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to get before... Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to get bed. Cut.
She needs to sort.
She really needs to sort out her priorities.